Okay, today we're talking about measure and draw angles. So first we need to know about a protractor. A protractor is a tool used for measuring the size of an angle. Okay, this is a protractor. Okay, it has a straight edge to make your rays, and then it makes the arc for you to find where you want to make your angle. So if you are going, and should have been in your notes, if you're going counterclockwise, which is this way, you're going to use the numbers that are on the bottom. So your angle would be acute, right, and then obtuse over here. If you were going clockwise, you're going to use the numbers that are on the top, because there are your acute angle numbers, right, and then your obtuse angle numbers. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, so, and I know those of you at home, y'all probably don't have a protractor. It's fine, you don't need one. Okay, I want to show you how to do it. That way, you know, but you will not have to use one. All right, so say I want to make an angle that's, let's say 40 degrees. So I'm going to make a straight line. Okay, I'm going to put an arrow at one end and my dot at the other. So I'm making a ray. All right. And so since my arrow is going this way, I'm actually going to be moving my angle counterclockwise. So I'm going to be moving, using the numbers that are on the bottom. Now, if you look, see this black line that goes all the way across? That's your 0. Okay. So we're going to lay the protractor down. This dot is my vertex, so I'm going to find where I made my little circle. See how it goes right on top of it like that? And I'm going to line this black line up with my purple line. So you can see right now, you can see the line I drew underneath. It's not lined up. So I have to make sure I move the protractor to where everything's lined up perfectly. All right, and then I'm going to find 40 degrees. So I'm going to find 40 right there, because this is an acute angle. I'm going to make a little mark. And then I'm going to move my protractor again. And I'm going to use the side length of the protractor as my ruler. There's my 40-degree angle. Okay. So I'm going to lay it down. Line everything up. 40 degrees. Okay. So if I have an angle already, let me make one real fast. I'm not going to measure because I want it to be a surprise. All right, so here's an angle, and I want to know how many degrees it is. So when you're looking at the angle, first of all, you need to know, is that acute or obtuse? Okay. In this case, it's a small angle, so we know it's an acute angle. So we're going to lay the protractor down, line everything up. And it's hard for y'all to see, I know. Okay, so here's my ray. It's going this way. So this time I'm going clockwise. So that means I have to use the numbers on top, because this is a acute angle. I need a small number. These underneath, 148 or something, would not be an acute angle, would it? So I'm using the numbers on the top. Okay, so here's 30, here's 40, and right in the middle is 35. It is not quite pointing at the 35, so I would say this is 34 degrees. Okay, so that's all I'm doing is I'm laying the protractor down and I'm measuring. Okay, let's see if I have an obtuse. Let's make an obtuse real quick. Okay, so I have a large angle there. So let's measure and see what it is. So I'm going to lay it down, making sure the 90 is face up, okay? Because if you don't, It's backwards, so you have to make sure it's right. Lay it down, line the 0 line up. So that means everything across this 0 line needs to be even and matching. Okay, then I'm going to take and I'm going to go up. Now, we said this is an obtuse, so 70 isn't an obtuse angle. So I'm looking at the top numbers. Not to mention I went clockwise. So I'm going here and I'm moving up. So here's 110. It is 1 over to the left of it. So that would be 109. So this angle is 109 degrees. Okay? All right. So here's what you'll see. What's the measure of angle ABC or CBA? Same thing, right? So we're going to lay down the protractor, line everything up. 20 degrees or 160 degrees? Okay, how many degrees would that angle be? And if you said 20, yeah, because that's an acute angle. Okay? All right, so moving on. The measure of angles. Okay, the symbol for measure of an angle is the M with the less than symbol. So if I was to say M less than ABC, that means measure of angle ABC. So we're looking at what the measure of angle ABC would be. Okay? So let me cover this up a little bit so it's not so confusing. Okay. So this angle right here, and we want to know how much the whole thing is. So right now, I know that angle LMO, so I know that angle LMO is 40 degrees, okay? And then it says OMN, so I know angle OMN is also 40 degrees. But what I don't know is the angle of LMN. So to find that, of course I've already written it. To find that, all you do is add those two numbers together. Okay, 40 plus 40 would be 80. Okay, so next we're given this picture. And you see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. But we're only given the measurements for 3 angles. So I know the angle FBE. FBE is 50 degrees. I know the angle of EBD. So EBD is 30 degrees. I notice the angle DBC is our missing variable, okay? That's the unknown. And then CBA, so angle CBA is 60 degrees. All right, so those are the things that we know. But then we look at and we see that angle ABF. What do you know about angle ABF? What's a fact that you should know about ABF? Okay, we know that it's a straight line and that's 180 degrees. So this is going to help us find the missing variable. Okay, it's going to help us find the unknown. All right, so if the whole thing is going to equal 180, I know that I can add these 3 measurements up and subtract it from 180. So 50, 30, and 60. All right? Oops, sorry. So I know that 5 plus 3 is 8. Plus 6 is 14, right? And then I know the whole thing from A to F is 180 degrees. So that straight line is 180 degrees. And I'm going to subtract the 140 degrees. And that leaves me with 40. So our missing angle is 40 degrees. And that's what you need to know. You you need to know how to find that missing angle. Or like above, you need to know how to find the whole angle. Okay, so when you're given 2, you add. When you're missing 1, you're going to have to subtract. Okay, all right. So let's talk about a few vocabulary words before I start showing you the assignment stuff today. All right. So the first one is an adjacent angle. Adjacent angles are 2 angles that have a common vertex. They also have a common side, but they don't overlap. So like here, this is a 1 angle, but then I have this one inside. So 1 angle, 2 angles, 35 degrees and 30 degrees. Okay, so here's another one. 1 total angle, and then they're split. So this one's 80, this one's 50. This line is called the common side, and this is your common vertex. Okay, you just have to know what this looks like. So this is what adjacent angles look like. Okay, next we have supplementary angles. That's 2 angles whose sum is equal to 180 degrees. So you have a 180 degree angle, which is a line, and then you have this angle. So these 2 angles add up to 180 degrees. 140 plus 40 is 180. So this would be a supplementary angle. 2 angles that add up to 180 degrees. All right. Next we have complementary. Complementary angles. That's 2 angles whose sum is equal to 90 degrees. So you have a right angle with another angle inside of it. So your 2 angles, 70 plus 20, equal 90. Okay? 2 angles whose sum is equal to 90 degrees. Angle 1, angle 2. And the last one is congruent angles. Congruent means same. So all congruent angles are 2 angles with the same degrees that are congruent. Okay, so it's just the look of the angle. So they're 2 very different looking angles, but they're both 60 degrees. So they would be congruent angles. Okay, they could be attached or they could be separated, but they're the same degree. That's all it means, the exact same degree. Okay, all right, so let's look, and this is the assignment that will be in Google Classroom in just a little bit. So look at this one. Sorry. So you're reading this. Let me make it bigger for you. Okay, you're reading this. Here is your 0 line, and this ray is going to the right. So you're moving up, which means you're going counterclockwise. So you're looking at these bottom numbers because this is a acute angle, right? So there's 60, that would be 70, and then 80. And then up here you have 100, 110, and 120. So I know that because this is an acute angle, this one has to be 70 degrees. Okay? So you're going to do the same thing with the rest of them. Oh, sorry, it's blurry. Okay? Here's your angle. It's going this way. Okay, to the right. So we're moving counterclockwise, which means we're using these bottom numbers. And how many degrees would that one be? Okay? So this one, there's 110, so that means this is 120. So this one is 120 degrees. Okay, on the assignment, you don't have to put the degree symbol. You can't. Just put the number, 120. Okay, so you would just put 120. So instead of putting this little degree symbol, just write the number 120. Okay, so here's another one. Okay, you look at it, you're going to go counterclockwise. You know that the look of that angle is an acute angle, so your answer is going to be 30, not 150. Okay? All right. You're also going to see this paper today. Let me find it. All right, so it says, which equation can you use to find the measure of angle DEG? So DEG. All right, so DEF, you see, is a 90-degree angle. That's a right angle. And GEF is 67 degrees. So if I know the whole thing is 90 and this part is 67, I can subtract those two to find my answer. Okay. Next one, what is the measure of angle KJN? Here's KJN. So we're looking for the measure of the whole thing. So we would add, okay, just like we did in the first example I did. We're going to add them all up, and that'll give you the angle, the degrees of the whole angle, KJN. Okay? All right. Make sure that you are finishing these videos all the way. Make sure you're finishing your work and getting it turned in. I make y'all stuff due on the same day because you have until midnight to work on it. So anything after midnight is going to be counted off. Okay, that's school policy. That's handbook. Okay, so make sure that you're getting your stuff done. Okay, if you have questions, you email me, send me a message on Clever. And now that my computer or my Google Class is working again, you can send me a message through Google Class now that it's showing up. Okay, so you have multiple ways to get a hold of me. So there's no excuse for saying you didn't understand or didn't know, because we can always have a Google Meet at any point. Okay, all right, do good.